New London joins Norwich as the only two cities in the state to have an infection rate per 100,000 people over 25. That has New London stepping up testing. Here, this community center behind me has had their hours extended, and they will also be opening up more locations to testing this weekend.
The earlier you act when you see some of this signal, the easier it is to turn things around.
Turning things around and slowing the spread of COVID-19 in the southeastern part of the state. The Department of Health issued a COVID advisory to New London, which is averaging over 30 cases per 100,000 people.
The surge that we're having right now, all of the data tells us that these infections are coming from community gatherings.
There has been no one gathering or event that has caused the outbreak in the area. The same was said in Norwich when a similar advisory was issued last week.
You have to break the chain of transmission from those who are exposed to those who don't have the disease.
Staying home if you have symptoms, practicing social distancing, and getting tested are ways to break the chain. The state is offering additional support to the city to ramp up testing and contact tracing.
Number of asymptomatic carriers to symptomatic is 7 to 1. So it's really important that that testing be done on a broad-based basis.
The hours have been extended at the Community Health Center on Shaw's Cove to 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. They offer free drive-up testing with no appointment necessary. Over a dozen other testing locations are being offered over the next week.
Going into the neighborhoods or going into our high rises to deliver this testing right to the population.
The city of Norwich is the only other municipality in the red. They have decided schools will teach fully remote until October 16th. The New London Board of Education has stated they intend to stick with the hybrid model.
Right now, all the data that we're having in our school system keeps them well within the safe range.
The governor says the state is considering to allow cities with higher infection rates to opt out of phase 3 until their infection rates diminish. Here in New London, Mayor Passero says that he would only consider that if neighboring cities do the same. In New London, Dave Puglisi, Fox 61 News.